Assalamualaikum and very good morning to our sensei. Before we start our presentation, we introduce ourselves, and my name is Muhammad Aziz bin Musli.
My name is Muhammad Azman bin Mazli.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Arif Iskandar bin Zaidi.
Okay, now we go to our presentation. The topic of we study is sensor application, and the type of sensor that we choose is proximity sensor in the car. Okay, next we go to the content of the slide. First is abstract, next introduction, third is research methodology, fourth is research case study and finding, fifth is conclusion and recommendation, next is reference, and last but not least is appendix. Okay, first and foremost, we go to the abstract for our case study. Okay, the abstract is the purpose of case study report is conduct research about sensor and research which is a proximity sensor that our group has been signed to. One of the main requirement to conduct the research is we have go to the company or industry and survey them a few questions related to our assignment. Other than that, we need to do another research beside the field study to prove what we have found referring to the site visit. Okay, now we go to the second content of the slide, which is an introduction. And what we have in introduction is objective of the field study. First objective is to know everything about a sign sensor, which is a proximity sensor. Second, to determine the application of proximity sensor in their life. Third, to know how does the proximity sensor work. And last but not least, we go to the company that produce the electronic and sensor component of automotive industry. We have a research scope in the introduction. We only study about a sign sensor, which is a proximity sensor. Next, we study about the use and application of proximity sensor in the car, and we specifically research of the proximity sensor in private transport, which is in the car, and we did a site visit to the Electric Malaysia Sdn Bhd at Nilai Negeri 9 because the company specialize in the produce electronic and sensor component of automotive. Okay, now we go to introduction of sensor application. Okay, sensor is defined as physical device or biological organ that detect or sense a signal or physical condition and chemical compound. A proximity sensor is physical device that is able to detect pressure of the nearby object without any physical contact. The device is applied in every aspect such as navigation, production of item, but most as we know is commonly uses in automotive and transportation. Now we go to the third content of the slide, which is the research methodology. At the research methodology, we use 4 research methodology, which is first, we use the interview research methodology, and we conduct the short interview with the manager corporate administration of Electric Malaysia Sdn Bhd at Nilai Negeri 9. And next, we conduct a site visit to explore the factory that produce automotive sensor, which is a proximity sensor. And next, we use internet to gain the information by surf on the internet about concept of proximity sensor. And last but not least, we use a survey question, but observation on the question in the interview session which the manager corporate administration of Electric Malaysia Sdn Bhd.
Okay, so now I will continue the presentation and talk about research case study. First is company. So our team decide to do the site visit at Alps Electric Sdn Bhd that located at Nilai, Negeri Sembilan. Okay, this company was produced the electronic and sensor component for a car automotive component. Besides that, this company also produce electronic component for which is like home electronic and industrial equipment. So our group has made a site visit to this company to know widely about the sensor that had been used in the car, which is proximity sensor. This type of sensor is being put two at the back and two at the front. Okay, we will continue to the other research case study, which is a proximity sensor. Okay, proximity sensor is the parking sensor that could help the driver to estimate the distance between the car and obstacle. Okay, this system is called as the driver assistance system. Okay, this system uses electromagnetic ultrasonic sensor. Okay, electromagnetic ultrasonic sensor is to measure the distance of nearby object via sensor located in the front and rear bump or visually minimal within adjacent grill or recesses. Okay, this system may also include visual aid such as LED or LCD without to indicate object distance. Okay, as an ultrasonic system relies on the reflection of sound wave, the system may not detect flat object or object insufficiently large to release sound. Okay, right now I want to talk about architecture of sensor. Okay, L-shaped proximity sensor is used in the car sensor because its size is very suitable to put in the car. Then the traditional proximity sensor is can't use because its size is too big and the size of wire is too thick. Okay, we will proceed to the slide and I want to talk about the operation of proximity sensor. Okay, when the car is in the reverse mode, the two sensors of the rear end of the car will active. Then the parking sensor will emit radio or ultrasonic wave that need to hit a surface so that it can bounce off of an object behind the vehicle and return back. Then the returning wave then processed by a small computer or the ECU. Okay, the computer can determine the size and relative proximity of the object behind the vehicle. Okay, if the wave returning quickly and then the computer will know that something is close behind the vehicle and emits a signal or noise. Okay, then if the vehicle is too close to something, the noise will sound like a heart that doesn't beat when monitored by the EKG. Okay, right now I want to talk about the advantages and limitation of the sensor. Okay, first of all about the advantages. The sensor can sense as far as 1400 mm for the back end and 35.6 for the front end. Okay. The second advantages is this type of proximity sensor the use is an inductive sensor, so that it can detect any object from plastic object to metal object. Okay, then for the limitation, okay, first is this sensor cannot detect a pole. This is because the pole is too long for it to be detected and not wide enough for the radio wave to bounce back and return to the sensor for the ECU to calculate.
Okay, now I will continue the presentation about conclusion and recommendation. Conclusion. First, the sensor are located in the different place so that it can detect any obstacle coming from different direction. Second, the proximity sensor had multiple innovations throughout story, and initially it's unsuitable to be used in car due to its size. Third, the sensor operates using logic gates and apply the concepts of wave reflection on the object it detects. And lastly, the proximity sensor mainly detects metallic objects first as most vehicles on the road contain metal. Recommendation. So we recommend to add sensor in the camera, and also the computer system can be improved to include artificial intelligence (AI). Problem encountered during field study. First, we have a conflict of getting permission from the apps electric Sendirian Berhad to do a field study at their place. For the first conflict, we try resend back our email of approve as a proof that we are doing this field study. We also call their company and talk to them nicely to get their permission. Second, we have a conflict with the policy of apps electric Sendirian Berhad. They need to keep some information for their company privacy, so we all can explore the application of sensor at their factory. For the second conflict, we ask them many questions about the application of sensor, about their factory and more. In this season, we all can get the important information that help us to do our field study. So this is our reference. We do interview season to get information about proximity sensor, and we also use internet to get more information about this sensor. So this is our appendix, and this is our question to ask the company about this sensor. That's all from me. Thank you.